Okay. We're here. We're live. Um, so welcome. Ooh, it said I should invite my friends to the thing. Let's see, who can I invite? Oh, but I only want to invite people that are in the group. Okay, I'm gonna invite you if you're in the group. So Maka, I know she's at work. Okay. Kayla. So I know some people probably really just don't know what time it is. That happens to people. Okay, I don't know that I can actually do this right now. Okay, anyways, okay, hi, welcome. It's the Super Simple Nutrition Ninjas special little group. Oh, hi, who's here? Say hi. And we're doing our Yom Kipor class, which is officially called How to Prepare for Yom Kippur so you don't feel like a giant piece of turd before, during, or after fasting. Sorry if the camera's a little weird. I'm on my computer today instead of my phone, and I think it's not actually as good. But you guys, check this out. Do you see this cool braid? How cool is that? Ridiculous, but I'm really excited about it. Anyways, okay. So a couple things I wanted to go over first. Number one, I think it's really important to determine whether or not you actually need to fast. And if you do need to fast, whether you have to fast entirely or not. Because for a lot of people, it is too difficult for them, in my professional opinion. Not meaning like, wham, it's too hard for me, but that it's too difficult in the sense that it's too taxing on the body. And if your body's already struggling with something, if you already are pre-diabetic, or you are diabetic, or you are pregnant, or you're nursing, I know there's a lot of different opinions about that, and obviously I can't advise you personally on that without talking to you personally about it, but I can tell you that I have advised a lot of my private clients not to fast, or at least to fast, but and have, like, obviously, you know, I'm not a rabbi, I'm not like a spiritual leader, and so I will encourage you to do what works for you in that sense. But I can tell you that I've also worked with a lot of clients that then will have like their rabbi or their rav call me because they want to hear what I have to say of why I think it's such a big deal. So I just wanted to put that out there of this class is to help people who just feel like a turd, not people who have like major health things that they're dealing with. So I'm going to sit on a pillow so I'm more comfortable, but now the angle's not good. I guess that doesn't really matter. You don't really care. Or if you do have some really big health concerns, but you're trying to fast anyways, this will definitely help you. But I just want to, I guess, preface it by saying that fasting is not, it's not nothing for certain people. You know what I'm saying? Like, some people, whenever they feel yucky, they get back to it. It's okay. Other people, it can really make a big effect. And so if that's you, don't be a martyr. And don't think it doesn't matter or that you don't matter, because you do. And even from a religious perspective, even though quite honestly I'm pretty jaded with most things religion and spiritual, just in the interest of being totally honest with you guys. But even from that perspective, the only mitzvah in the Torah, as far as I know, I was taught this by Mrs. Reichik of LA, the only mitzvah in the Torah that says that you have to guard your health me'od, with two me'ods, that you have to do with two me'ods is to guard your health. So I think that it's a really big deal, and it's something that's not kind of given the weight and the value that it has. So that's my little preface. I should also preface, because some of you are new, a lot of you are old clients or people that have taken my courses before, but some of you are new, so I want to give a little intro. I guess I'm a little late for the intro, but whatever. I'm Shana Kamen, and I'm a strategic nutritionist. And what that means is that I teach my clients how to use really simple and delicious foods as medicine, and to heal all sorts of health issues that can really stem from not getting your nutrition needs met. So that's all kind of indigestive issues, from just like heartburn to celiac and Crohn's. Oops, sorry, my phone's, I'm gonna silence it. And my computer, I don't know how to silence things. I mean, I'm sure I could figure it out, but whatever. anyway, so all kinds of digestive issues from, you know, heartburn to Crohn's, to just like, oh, my stomach hurts all the time, to all kinds of skin issues, whether that's psoriasis or acne, all kinds of hormonal issues, whether that's PMS or PPD, or trouble getting pregnant or staying pregnant. And I also work with a lot of pregnant women, just helping them learn what are the most important foods so that you can grow a really healthy baby and have a really safe and effective birth. And obviously and prevent postpartum depression, and make sure that you have, you know, what you need to create good breast milk and without depleting your own resources. So I really can kind of help you with anything, but my kind of angle with it is always to make it as easy as possible. As you can see, the brand is Super Simple Nutrition, because there's so much that you can do that's still really simple that makes a profound impact in your health across the board. So if you have any personal questions or that you want to talk about after or whatever, you can definitely reach out. And if you have anything on here now, the truth is anything that's related, oh good, people are commenting, I had it blocked. Hey Esty, hey Kayla, how are you going live from your laptop? Well, it's not my laptop, it's my desktop, but I don't think that makes a difference. If you go into your group on your desktop or your computer, whatever, there should be a button that says go live. It's relatively new. They just started it. But cool. I'm so glad you guys are here. Let me see if I can kind of make this smaller so I can see my notes and you at the same time. I'm so glad you guys are here. Okay. Now I'm trying to make everything smaller. Okay. I'm feeling pretty proud of myself with all this tech, by the way. You can all be proud of me too. Okay. Also, hello, whoever got the notes and I read them. How organized looking are they? Isn't that like so satisfying to look at? I mean, to me, it's very satisfying to look at. And I'll give the credit to Google Notes or Google whatever. It's a Google Doc, and it just made it really user friendly rather than just, I don't know what else they would have done, like a Word document. Anyways, okay. So the three things that we're covering now are in order, right? Because we're preparing for Yom Kippur physically. I can't really help with the emotional part of it. Maybe whatever, it's not really my forte. Is so you don't feel like a turd before you have Yom Kippur, during or after, right? A lot of times people will feel terrible before, don't mind my darting eyes because I'm reading my notes also, is because they overeat like crazy. So the day before, they're like eating constantly and drinking constantly and just feeling so bloated and gross. And so we don't want to do that. Overeating the day before does not help you, doesn't serve you. It just gives you a stomach ache. And honestly, it stretches out your stomach so that you feel kind of even more hungry the next day. So don't overeat like crazy, okay? Rather, and you can see in my notes, I wrote it up so nicely for you. What's much better is to be having your meals for the 2 days before. We want to be eating more food so that you can kind of like stock up, but not in huge increments, okay? So like every 3 hours, try to have like a really solid meal, okay? And your solid meal wants to consist of 3 main parts, okay? Number 1, you want to have a complex carbohydrate. So that means like brown rice, quinoa, oats, sprouted grain bread like Ezekiel bread. This does not mean white rice. It does not mean like noodles. It doesn't mean like whole wheat bread, which really is not whole wheat bread. I've never seen a whole wheat bread that's actually whole wheat bread. It's usually just white with like a little sprinkling of whole wheat to give it a little color. The only sprouted grain breads that I've seen that are really good is like Ezekiel, or like Trader Joe's has like a knockoff of Ezekiel, but it should say sprouted grains. And when you have that, it's really important. I don't want you to be having it plain. You want to be having it with plenty of good fats. So that means if you're going to have toast, right, as part of your meal, to have it with like a good maybe tablespoon at least of either butter or peanut butter or almond butter, or half an avocado mushed on there. Although I do love avocados in general, but for this, I don't feel like they're super duper satisfying the way that we want to kind of like build up that in our body for this. So that's for if you're having toast. Let's say you want to make oatmeal. Instead of cooking it with water like you normally would, what I would do is cook it with coconut milk or even coconut cream, right? So we want to get it really, really a lot of good fats in there. And that what happens is we're working with it, with our body to really get a lot of extra good fats and the good carbs in there to keep our blood sugar stable for a long period of time. So again, what we're going through today, I want to make sure everyone knows, is not a way of eating that I would encourage you to do like all the time. This isn't like a meal plan that I would ever get anyone to do all the time. It's really good for this. It's really good for preparing for the fast. But if you watch this and you're like, oh, this is so awesome, I'm just gonna like do this, it must be good because like Shane is telling me to do it, I want you to know I'm not telling you to do this all the time, because it would just not be beneficial to do all the time. But it's fine and very good to do for a few days, and is really beneficial for preparing for a fast and for recovering for a fast from a fast. So there you go with that. There's like a piece of hair on me that I can't find, but I feel it. Anyways, okay, so that's that. That's the carb. You also want to have with every meal a really good source of protein. Could be any of your favorite proteins. So that could be tuna, that could be any kind of fish, that could be beef or chicken or cottage cheese or lentils or beans if you really do well with those things. I'll leave that up to your discretion of what either you're craving or what you like best, because that matters. How you know, what your body craves and asks for. So I'm gonna open the window. Makes a big difference in what works well for you. So that's that. And the third part of your meal is that you want to be having lots of hydrating vegetables, right? So I'll give you an example of a not hydrating vegetable. A potato or a sweet potato are not hydrating vegetables. They're more like carbs. A really hydrating vegetable would be like romaine lettuce, cucumbers, tomatoes are even, basically ones that like if you squeeze them or you could juice them, a lot of water would come out. And that's actually more hydrating than just having plain water. I feel like if my husband would watch this, he would go crazy because he always like says that my eyes like dart around when I'm filming. And they do, but especially I feel like when I'm doing this, because like if I look at myself talking now, my eyes are like that. And then if I look up at you there where I feel like that looks better, then I can't see myself. So it's like this battle. Anyways, that doesn't matter at all. So yeah, so I would say to also have, try and have some really hydrating vegetables with every meal, because it's really important that the water and the hydration actually gets into your cells where you need it, right? Have you ever had the experience, and I'm sure you're nodding yes, where you're super thirsty and you drink a ton of water and you still feel just as thirsty and you like pee it all out and you still feel like you're not absorbing it? That's because you're not absorbing it, right? It's really hard to absorb just plain water as is. And so the truth is we absorb water from vegetables in a lot of ways better. That's why people like love watermelon. So generally I do love watermelon. For this case, I'm not so into it just because it has more sugar than I'm looking for at this point. My goal over the 2 days before the fast and after the fast is to do everything we can to keep your blood sugar stable, because that terrible hangover, yucky, just bad feeling, what that feeling is just your blood sugar a disaster. And so I normally love watermelon. It's actually not something I'm recommending right now. It's not going to be the worst thing in the world. We'll cover it, but we can talk about that. So, but I would say again, just to have the vegetables like the romaine lettuce and like normally in general, if people are having a salad, I'm encouraging like darker greens, like, you know, the mixed baby greens or whatever, or arugula. For this, I'm saying to do the romaine and the cucumber and that with just like lemon and unrefined salt and olive oil. The lemon's also really good for helping you absorb it. And you can also throw in like some like parsley or cilantro just because those have a lot of minerals in the dark green, and it will help you also absorb the water better. So there you go. So you want to be having basically a meal like that every 3 hours that you're awake pretty much for 2 days before the fast. I don't think that you'll really do that, and I don't want you to beat yourself up about it. I just want you to know what you're shooting for, and then you just do the best you can, and whatever you can do will help you tremendously. Just do your best. If you can't do 3 hours, but you can do 4, or you can do 3 a couple times and then you miss one and so you do 4. Like, that's okay. Whatever you can do will make a tremendous difference. The difference with like food as nutrition versus like medicine as nutrition, like medicine, like you know, a prescription, with especially what I'm talking about now, the more you can do, the better. But it's not like a prescription where like if you mess it up, it's like all a disaster. You know, like the doctors will be really clear, like you can't miss a dose. And if you miss a dose, it's a big problem. I'm not saying that. I'm saying do your best, and the best you can do will be really helpful. Okay, the better you can do, the better. But it's not something to make yourself crazy over. Feel free to comment or ask any questions if you want. Okay, so that's your prep for beforehand. For food. I didn't get into the drinks, did I? Oh, I did write it down here. Okay. Between meals is where you want to focus on your drinks. If you're drinking while you're eating, then your stomach, first of all, I mean, it's not the big deal. Like, I do it and you can do it. But as far as, again, if you're trying to be intentional and do the best you can, don't mind me playing with my hair. Just really excited about my little braid. That if you drink while you eat, it dilutes like your stomach acid. It's harder to break it down. And it also, like, you might be eating less than you really are hungry for, or that you can kind of fit in comfortably. I'm not encouraging you to overeat uncomfortably. I am encouraging you to eat as much as is comfortable, right? So don't like stuff yourself. Don't make it hurt. Just eat as much as you can comfortably fit. Does that make sense? Like, so you say, like, I'm full. I feel satisfied. And between your meals, you want to be drinking really hydrating liquids. Like the best, most hydrating drink is raw coconut water. I happen to love how it tastes. Some people think it tastes really weird. So you do you. Some people like don't like it. Some people are just like, this is odd. I can tell you for me, for the first like year or so that I tried it a few times, I was like, this is just weird, and I didn't like it. And then I kind of tried it a few more times and I was like, oh, this is pretty good. And then when I got a really good one, that's the difference. I got a really good brand. Like, don't get like the cheapo brands because they're not even healthy or valuable. But even just like the box ones from Trader Joe's that don't have to be refrigerated are really not that good. They're better than just plain water, but they're not that great. The best ones are like a ridiculous price. But they are, you can get them at Trader Joe's, or it's like a little bottle like this for like, I can't see my fingers, for like $3. Or at Whole Foods, you can get like a kind of bigger bottle like this for like $7. But the brand at Whole Foods is Harmless Harvest. You can also get it at Costco and a lot of places. Harmless Harvest. And also the Trader Joe's one, if you look in the refrigerator section, it'll say raw coconut water. And it's just really, because it has a lot of the electrolytes in it, has a lot of minerals in it. And so what that means is that when you drink it, it actually hydrates you. You do not have that feeling that it's just like going straight through you. You'll feel really refreshed. And that's what you want. We want to bulk up like the water, again, not just in our stomach, right? We want our cells to be hydrated. The only issue is that sometimes it can be really, it can be really sweet. By the way, how fun is it that I'm wearing pink? I love this shirt, but I don't really ever wear it when I go live anymore. Because it has a bunch of stains, but you can't see that now because you only see from here up. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, and it's stained because I only use like the non-toxic detergent, and I haven't found one that really takes out stains yet. So there you go. It's a compromise I make. Anyways, if you don't like coconut water, or it's just too annoying or whatever, you're not going to buy enough of it. By the way, because it is so expensive, if you buy it by the case at Whole Foods, they'll give you a 10% discount. If you get a case of anything, they'll give you a 10% discount. And like, if I had an endless budget, I would buy this all the time, but it is so expensive. But I'll tell you, when I gave birth, when I was at the end of my pregnancy and after I gave birth, I was going through like, I don't know, half of a case a day. It was a very expensive habit, but it was well worth it. And I encourage all of my moms to do it because it's just super duper hydrating. And it's one of the biggest things you can do postpartum. Now, I'm sharing that with you because I ramble a little bit, but also because it's relevant. And the point, just like then, of hydrating is now we really want to be hydrated. So I would just do it. I would just do it if you can and if you like it. Also, maybe you want to dilute it a little bit because it is pretty sweet, and that's not super ideal at this point to be having sweets, because sweets do mess with your blood sugar. So maybe like dilute it like half and half with water. But the truth is, if you're just enjoying it, I think it's fine, especially, again, if you are eating the meals that I'm describing for you to be eating every 3 hours, you should be fine. The other option is to have filtered water, whatever, good water you have available is fine. I actually just got a new, look, it's like backwards, so it's confusing. I actually just got a new filter that I can tell you guys about later. It's not that new, but I'm still excited about it. But for a long time, I just used a Brita, which I know is not great, but like, listen, you just like gotta be at the stage you're at. So if you're just like drinking from the tap or using a Brita, just use a Brita. And I would use a Brita over plastic water bottles because I don't want the water that's been sitting in the plastic for so long, because the plastic that kind of leaches into the water, not healthy. I'd rather choose the Brita or glass water bottles, but that's just like expensive and annoying unless it's not for you. Anyway, so you can add, if you want to have just filtered water, I would add in sea salt, like unrefined salt. So that's like Celtic salt or Himalayan pink salt or Redmond's real salt's also really good. Excuse me. And then like some squeeze of lemon, and you can also like throw in some cucumbers and mint if you want. And that's not just yummy. It's also helping, it's putting minerals into it. I even like squeeze it a little bit to kind of break up the flavor, to kind of help it like infuse the water. And if you're really ambitious, I won't be doing this because this is too annoying to me, but it would be great to do is to juice romaine lettuce and cucumbers. Romaine lettuce and cucumbers, like I mentioned in the salad, they're super duper hydrating, and they even have live enzymes in them because they're like actually vegetables, and so they're really hydrating. They're alive, better than water. But that's just annoying to do unless you're like really into juicing. Okay, so that is your plan for before the fast. Okay, good. Number 2, I want to talk about how to break the fast and what to be eating like the next day. Okay, the worst thing that you can do after a fast is have like orange juice, cake, and watermelon. I know that's what every synagogue puts out. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, maybe not every single one, but every single one I've ever been to, that's what's put out. Orange juice, watermelon, and cake. That is basically the worst thing that you can do, and that compounds people's like recovery or lack thereof process like 3-4-fold. The reason why is because after you've been fasting, right, your blood sugar is going down, 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 down all day. If you then break your fast on a sweet, it's going to spike your blood sugar up, which is why people want it and crave it, but then it drops you down even further, which is why you feel like such a piece of turd afterwards. Are you with me? So instead, what we're going to do is have something that's easy to digest and has fat and proteins. And you can have some carbs with it too. That's be a good idea. Okay. So like I put here, like my favorite post-fast meal, not favorite in the sense of like, oh, it's so yummy, I love it. I don't like, it's so good, I don't feel that way. But I do love not feeling like a piece of crap afterwards. So I have like, what did I say, like have scrambled eggs, and some coconut water. If you feel like you gotta have something sweet, you can do some coconut water. I would try and dilute it again if possible. And that would be like my post-fast meal. Maybe some Israeli salad would also be really good. Okay, with like fresh lemon. Don't do the fake lemon. That ruins everything. Fresh lemon makes everything good, and not fresh lemon makes everything like really mediocre at best. If you are in a place where you just feel like, oh my God, Shana, you're crazy, I have to have something sweet at that point, then I would say have the coconut water or have some watermelon, but have it with the scrambled eggs. And when you scramble the eggs, scramble it in like a tablespoon of butter or olive oil or coconut oil, whatever those good oils that you really like. And I would get grass-fed organic butter if you can. Because basically those good fats is like the anti-venom to like the sugar. So even if you're having a bunch of, like if you're having the sugar in the coconut water or you're having the sugar in the watermelon, if you have the scrambled eggs too, it will not affect you as poorly. However, it would still be my encouragement to just minimize the sugars, even from watermelon and coconut water, as much as possible. Okay. What did I say here too? Also, yeah, don't have it on the empty stomach. Or if again, I know like, what are you going to do? You're there. I mean, can you bring something with you, or can you just break your fast at home instead of at shul? I don't know. It's up to you. Don't have anything sweet on an empty stomach for sure. And if you do have something sweet on an empty stomach, don't. But if you do, then eat something fatty right afterwards. Okay? So like if you are at the synagogue and there's orange juice and you're like, oh my God, I cannot wait another 20 minutes until I get home or whatever, and you drink some, then don't blame me that you feel like crap. But if you do, like, can you take peanut butter with you? And just take a bite of peanut butter also, because that will help, right? The sugar is going to like, ding, But if you eat peanut butter, instead of dropping you like this and then making you feel awful, the peanut butter will help like this, okay? So you're gonna feel less awful. So maybe everyone should actually keep with them like in your purse or in your pocket for after the fast, like those little like individual little peanut butter packets or whatever. The truth is, in my car, I always have like a jar of peanut butter. I don't even like peanut butter. But for like emergency situations when I'm like, oh, I was supposed to be home an hour ago and I'm sitting in traffic and blah, 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 and I'm so hungry, so I don't turn into a monster and I don't let my blood sugar crash terribly, I always kind of like to have something there. So there you go. Yeah. So, yeah, so basically when I'm looking at my notes. Yeah, so the best thing to break your fast on, like I said, would be like the scrambled eggs with Israeli salad. And if you want to do like, again, like a piece of toast with that, but again, like Ezekiel bread, not white bread junk. Ezekiel bread is sprouted grain bread, or again, if you have kasha or quinoa or oatmeal that you cooked with coconut milk, something again, really fatty and rich and satisfying. It's those rich and satisfying flavors made from good fats, no margarine, okay? No canola oil. We're not using that crap. It's not helping you, okay? But if you're using coconut oil or good quality butter or extra virgin olive oil, that stuff is great. And our body does fabulously on it, and it will help you tremendously. So do that. Okay. Yeah, and I mentioned also, I can't remember if I said this already, but if you're going to be able to make, like, have Israeli salad or romaine salad with it, I would try and add in some, like, parsley and cilantro just like before them fasts. We're going to try and recover the same way after the fast, right? Because now your blood sugar, again, is, like, really struggling from not eating for so long. And so we want to just give it everything we can to try and stabilize you. And again, a big part of that is the rehydration. And so, again, if you're chugging water like crazy, that doesn't always help so much. You can't always absorb it so much like that. But you absorb it a lot better with through like romaine lettuce and cucumbers and things like that. Other vegetables that you like are fine too. What did I want to add to that? Is that, oh yeah, try not to overeat when you're done with your fast and you're like, oh my God, I'm so hungry and blah, blah, blah. Do your best to like eat, I would say, like I mentioned, like maybe 2 eggs with Israeli salad and a piece of toast with butter. And then just like, even if you feel like, oh my God, I want so much more, but you feel your stomach, if you eat that after you fasted all day for 25 hours or whatever, your stomach's going to feel full. And you will thank me if you control yourself and you like let yourself wait an hour, maybe like drink more coconut water. If you are a person who does well on milk, you could also drink milk. Not everyone does well on milk. I unfortunately do not, but I love it. I'm hoping that as my body heals and gets stronger, that I eventually will be able to go back to milk, because I used to be able to have milk. That's a whole story for another time. There are other things that I've been able to go back to, so that's exciting. Yeah, so take your break and then eat again. So if you break I don't know what time the fast ends. I don't know. You would think I know this, but I'm guessing around like 7:30 or something. So if you eat, let's say 7:45, and you're up still at like 9:30 and you're hungry again, eat then. But give yourself time to digest it and try and just like, I'll tell you, some of you probably know that I'm also a musician, and I'm writing a song. I'm working on a song right now. Where basically the main line of it is, if I had just a little bit of self-respect, right? Because it basically came to me when I was like, just like not being so nice to myself and pushing myself too hard and all these things I was trying to do. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to do it all. But I was like, you know what? And I was also like stressing myself out and kind of like freaking out about things and whatever. And I was just like, thought to myself, like, if I pretend I'm a person that has a lot of self-respect, what would that person do? And I'm like, okay, well, that person would be like, you've done enough today, go to bed, go to sleep, start again refreshed. Like, you're not someone's like B word, you're not a horse, you're a person. And so even if you're in the habit of sorry, I'm still like busy with my hair. Maybe if you're not so in the habit of giving yourself all the self-respect that you deserve, just try. And I find that in these kinds of things, faking it works really well, and that it doesn't kind of like, I'm not like a professional in this like cognitive behavioral therapy, but my understanding of it is that basically you start doing things, and that from the outside in affects your insides. And I see that tremendously for me in these kinds of things, that I can't like talk to myself or like do what is like affirmations, like, oh, I'm so like worthy of respect and whatever, blah, blah, blah. To me, that just feels like I'm lying to myself. It feels stupid. If it works for you, then that's awesome. For me, it doesn't. But what does work for me is I just think of, if I were someone who had self-respect, right? Like, or more of it, just a little bit, what would I do? What would that person do? And then I'd act that way. So I'm like modeling the self-respect that I'm trying to internalize. I said that word right. But I find that the more that I model it, the more that I actually do become self-respecting, and that I, through my behavior, and I'm just bringing this up because I think, you know, post-fast, you're feeling weak and you're feeling kind of yucky. You'll feel a lot better than you did in years past if you did not do what we're talking about, but you'll still feel like you didn't eat for 25 hours, right? And so I would just take a deep breath and don't punish yourself. Don't fight with yourself. Just think like, if I had just a little bit of self-respect, what would I do right now? And the thing is that if you were full, you'd stop eating and you would just take a break, maybe lay down, maybe watch some TV, maybe read a book, whatever you like. And then you come back again like an hour or 2 or 3 later, and then you eat some more so that you don't hurt yourself, like hurt your stomach. Yes. Okay. Then that last thing I want to reiterate what I already said though is that I would encourage you to eat kind of this way every 3 to 4 hours of these kinds of meals, like we mentioned, for before the fast, after the fast also for the next like 24 to 36 hours until you're feeling basically all better. But I do not recommend eating this way all the time. Okay. I do recommend trusting yourself if something feels good, but this isn't like a food plan for all the time. It's not. So hear me on that. So there you go. What are the last 2 things? Oh, someone had some, can I specify about oatmeal? Steel cut oats or another kind of coconut milk and coconut milk only the canned kind? Great question, Steve. Okay. For oatmeal, I prefer the not steel cut, whatever is called, the steamed, the flat ones. I also would recommend soaking it. So you can soak it in water the night before, and it'll probably absorb it all. You won't be able to rinse it. It just makes it easier to cook that way and easier to digest, which is really beneficial for us, right? We want to be getting the most out of the food we're eating. And then when you cook it, the truth is, now that I'm thinking this through, I would cook it with coconut cream because you already added water to soak it, ideally. If you didn't, it's okay. Yes, only the canned kind. My favorite brand is Native Forest. Because it doesn't have like weird extra ingredients added, and it generally pours really nicely. I don't recommend like the boxed coconut milk or creams like Cara. I don't recommend, or just the regular box ones, those ones. For this purpose especially, I don't recommend it, and in general I don't recommend it because they have carrageenan, but also they usually are much lower in fat, and that's what we're coming for. In general, I don't recommend steel cut oats, or just pretty fast. Generally speaking, I think people digest the other ones better. So if you happen to like them a lot more, then I would say that's okay, and just make sure that you're really soaking them. I'd soak them for like 24 hours, and then I would slow cook them. Like I'd cook them on the stove for another long time till they're soft. But I think what happens a lot of time, people don't do that, and then they're still really tough and really difficult to break down. If you find that you just like them a lot better and you take extra care to make sure that you're cooking them properly, I think it's totally fine. And the coconut milk, yeah. So the other one, I think that Whole Foods also, the Whole Foods brand one is also really good. And from a health perspective, the Trader Joe's one is good too. But honestly, I just find it's not as good quality. Like every time I open a coconut milk from like the canned ones or coconut cream from Trader Joe's, like I bought it maybe 15 times and only 1 time, maybe 2 times, has it been like milky. Usually it's like very watery in the bottom. There's a little bit of like milk and then the oil separated already. Like it's just like not working out for them over there. Like normally I'm a big Trader Joe's fan, but not when it comes to their canned coconut milk stuff. The other option is that if you are a person that does really well on dairy, you could also just use like heavy cream. You could cook it with that and that would probably taste amazing. I just want to pull up from my email here. One second. Hold on. Someone was asking me some questions, and I told her I would go through it. And I just want to make sure that I am. Where is it? Where is it? So many emails. I think this is it. It's the one right on top. It's the one right on top. Okay. She said she normally wakes up thirsty in the morning and drinks a lot of fluids. How can she avoid the dry mouth and thirst on Yom Kippur? Okay, so I think I, in a lot of ways, covered that already. So basically, you want to be, the fact that you're thirsty all the time indicates to me, I mean, there's a lot of reasons that it could be, but the simplest one, the most common one, is that you're not absorbing the water. Either you're not drinking enough, or you're not drinking enough that you can absorb, right? So if it's just like water and you chug, 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 and it doesn't get through you, I would say definitely just in general, you should be adding lemon and salt. And I would add as much salt as tastes good to you, not table salt. It needs to be an unrefined salt. Because in order to absorb the water molecules into your cells, you need minerals to do it. And if it's just the H2O, it's much harder to digest. It's much harder to pull into the cells, the cell wall, to get through the membrane. However, if you add in lemon and the minerals that's in a good quality salt, right? So Celtic sea salt and unrefined, other salts are good, like pink Himalayan, I mentioned already, I think. That really helps the water get into your cells so that you actually absorb it. And also, like I mentioned, coconut water and also juicing vegetables will really help with all those things. Next question. GI distress. Sorry for the TMI. How do you avoid that after fasting? Okay. The truth is, I wish you'd have been a little more TMI, because I'm not sure if you mean that you get constipated or that you get loosey-goosey, i.e. diarrhea. I know people always get uncomfortable talking about it, but I talk about it all day with people, so for me it's fine. I also kind of have like a 9-year-old sense of humor, and I just think it's really funny, so it's fine. Hell. In my mouth. Anyways, okay. Good question. If you're saying that you get constipated, then I would, again, just make sure when you break your fast to have plenty of absorbable liquids. I think that for you, that's the key thing. I'm assuming that you're saying you get constipated. I could be wrong. And if I am wrong, you can comment in here afterwards, or you can private message me and I'll add it on. I'll like email you guys or comment below on here. I won't say who asked. I understand if that's a little uncomfortable. Make sure you're having plenty of absorbable liquids. And post-fast, I would say, again, if your issue is that you get constipated, is that I would have like a tall glass of lemon water. I would squeeze in at least, sorry, I keep itching my nose. Do you guys remember that Seinfeld episode where Jerry's like gets caught and like going like this in the car, and like the woman next to him thinks he's like picking his nose? It was like a whole really funny thing that I feel like is so relatable. Anyways, I'm just itching my nose. I want you to have, like, if you tend towards constipation, then you can break your fast on like a tall glass of lemon water with like a whole lemon in it. And again, as much salt as tastes good to you. Especially when you're using unrefined salt, you can trust your palate on that, of what tastes good to you, and you'll be hungry for, not hungry, but you will crave as much as you need, and not more and not less, generally speaking. So that, the same way that lemon makes you salivate, right? Like, right? When you have lemon, it also kind of like makes your intestines like salivate, so to speak, like it pulls those fluids. And so if you kind of feel like you get stuck after that, it will help get things moving. And also maybe to make sure that, like I mentioned, not just to have cake when you break it, right? I don't recommend cake at all. If you have a big glass of lemon water and then you have some scrambled eggs with like a romaine salad that's like really has a, and or Israeli salad, that should also really help you a lot, because it has good fiber and again more absorbable liquids. Okay, and I think you had one more question. Is there a way to enjoy something sweet in the 2 days before Yom Kippur without compromising hydration? If yes, what? Okay, so I think I kind of answered your questions through the whole thing anyways, but I'll just be explicit for you. I would say if you're gonna have something sweet, I would make it coconut water. I would make it watermelon. And again, just make sure that you're eating your meals that have plenty of fat in them as I explained in detail earlier, on time. And if you keep your blood sugar stable by having plenty of fats on time, then I think then the sweetness in the watermelon or the coconut water shouldn't be as problematic. And if you're talking about sweets like lollipops or jelly, I would do my best to avoid it. But again, like, you're human, do the best you can. If you're having crazy sugar cravings in general, then like talk to me and we can work on that together. Because we can get over it. The truth is, like, very easily, because when you have those kinds of cravings, when you are craving sugar or any kind of unhealthy thing, we crave, this is a kind of cool concept, we crave what we don't need when we're not getting what we do need. Okay, I'll say that again. We crave what we don't need if we're not getting what we do need, right? So if we're not getting the actual nutrients that our body needs, we will start to crave sugar, because sugar is the immediate fix, even though it's not really what we need. It makes us feel better immediately, but it doesn't fill the real need. The example, the metaphor that I always give for my clients is basically I'm getting all deep with you guys on here, but that's okay. It's like the words, my brain is losing it. I was up late working on this, as you know, is like unconditional love and conditional love, right? We all crave and need unconditional love. If we don't get it, that's when we start like looking for attention in all the wrong places, right? That's when we start craving like, oh, that like jerk's attention, or that like hot a-hole in, 7th grade or whatever, right? Like, if we were getting all the love and validation and attention from the healthy relationships in our life, like, those are not the kids that wind up, looking for attention in ways that are not healthy and not wholesome and not truly satisfying, right? Like, I'm not judging whatever ways people find to get their love, but if it's not satisfying and you don't feel wholesome and well afterwards, then we can pretty safely understand it's not good for you. So the way, that's kind of how it works with sugar cravings in general, and any kind of unhealthy craving, whether that's, alcohol or cookies, which I guess counts as sugar, but it's, it's different. It's a different understanding metabolically for me if a person craves like cookies versus if they crave lollipops. Those are different things. Anyways, so that's what I would say. Again, like, if you want to have it, I would try and again just have it with as much fat as possible to minimize the effects. So again, like, if you want to have it, maybe put some jelly on your sprouted grain toast after you put the butter. Like, put butter. The truth is, sometimes I do this for my kids when they want jelly on toast, is I like put butter on the Ezekiel bread on both sides, and I like fry it in the pan. So it has like a bunch of fat on it. And then I put a little jelly on top. And it still tastes really good because the butter's so satisfying and delicious, right? And it tastes like sweet too, but it doesn't have that same, like, that's a totally different metabolic reaction in your body than if I would give them like white bread with just jelly on it. It's totally different. And so that's kind of how I'd say for you to try and handle that. Okay, do you guys have any more questions before I kind of hop off here? If you do, let me know. I'm so glad you're here. This was fun. I'm glad I kind of like just did it. I'm proud of myself for taking the imperfect action to make it happen. Oh, and really exciting, you guys see the group that we're in, Super Simple Nutrition Ninjas? I'll send you all emails because I'm really excited. It's going to be like a membership course that I'm doing, where it's going to be like, instead of me doing these like kind of like one-off classes, I'm going to do it for like a monthly price. The first, like the early bird special will be $47 a month. And every month I'll do like a topic one, like we'll do dairy and we'll do grains and we'll do greens. Like, it's kind of like this, like an informational one. Every month I'm going to do like a hands-on, like how to make sauerkraut or how to make kombucha or something like that. I'll do like an hour of like Q&A that you guys can either email me in advance or be live with me and ask me like whatever is on your mind, whatever your questions are about health and nutrition. And I'll make sure to always do like one kind of like meal thing, like whatever I'm making, but if you guys have a special request, like something that's kind of like more complex and more that I'm comfortable doing for free in my group. Like, with the group I do like simple, really specific dishes. So all my dishes obviously that I make are simple and easy, but maybe we could do like dinners or other kind of like cool soup stuff I've been wanting to do with you guys. Anyways, everyone who's in here, I'm going to give you guys the first month free, so that's really exciting. Everyone that's like taken a class or has been a client is getting the first month free, so exciting. Okay, so that's just a little preview of what's to come, what's going to be happening in this little group. And I love you guys, and I hope that you have a meaningful day. And I'm really not even sure, honestly, how I feel about Yom Kippur at this point. That's not really anything to do with you or your problem, or not sure you care. But I just hope that everything in your life is meaningful, and that you have meaningful connections, and that you have a strong and healthy body so that you can do everything that's meaningful in your life, because we need it. Okay, talk to you soon. I love you guys. Bye.